Vazek crushed the empty drink container in his four-fingered hand. The metal crumpled like paper under his strength. The bar around him was dark and smoky, filled with beings from a dozen different worlds. None dared to sit too close to the 7-foot-tall Drenthak's mercenary commander. "So let me get this straight," Vazek said, his voice like gravel. "You're offering triple the normal rate to take out a small human mining outpost." The broker, a small green alien with 6 eyes, nodded quickly. "Yes, yes, triple rate. Good deal, yes?" "Too good." Vazek's yellow eyes narrowed. "What's the catch?" The broker laughed, but it sounded nervous. "No catch. Simple job. Just humans." "Then why triple pay?" Vazek leaned forward. The scales on his face caught the dim light, showing old battle scars that ran deep. The broker looked around the bar before speaking quietly. "Last 3 teams never came back." Vazek laughed, a sound like rocks tumbling down a hill. "You're telling me that mercenary teams were beaten by humans? Soft-skinned mammals with no claws, no armor, not even decent teeth." "I tell only what I know." The broker pushed a small data chip across the table. "Last transmission from Team Blackscale mentioned strange tactics." Then nothing. Vazek picked up the chip between his thick fingers, looking at it with doubt. Blackscale. Korvig led that team. He was a war veteran with 20 years of experience. "Gone now," the broker shrugged. "All gone." Vazek thought for a moment. His team needed credits, and triple the normal rate would set them up for a long time. How dangerous could humans really be? He had fought many species across the galaxy. Humans were among the weakest physically. "I'll take the job," Vazek finally said. "But I want half payment up front." The broker nodded quickly and transferred the credits. "Your funeral," he muttered. 3 days later, Vazek stood in the briefing room of his ship. Around him stood his elite team. 12 of the toughest mercenaries from across the galaxy. Each was specialized in different combat forms. Each had survived dozens of missions. "This mission is simple." Vazek pointed to the hologram showing Epsilon 9, a small moon rich with rare minerals. "We have 1 human outpost with 27 targets. Minimal defenses. We go in fast. We hit hard. We leave no survivors." "Why are we getting paid so much for such an easy job?" asked Sekla, his tactical officer. Her 8 limbs were folded neatly as she studied the hologram. "Because the last few teams failed," Vazek said honestly. "But they were careless. We won't be." Merkesh, the team's weapons specialist, clicked his mandibles together. "I've heard stories about humans. They're supposed to be unpredictable." "They're just humans," Vazek said firmly. "Weak, slow, and soft. This will be the easiest mission we've ever done." As the ship accelerated toward Epsilon 9, none of the mercenaries noticed the small blinking light on their communication array. Someone was tracking them. Someone was waiting. On the surface of the moon, a human woman named Sarah looked up at the sky and smiled. "They're coming," she said into her communicator. "Prepare the welcome party." Vazek's ship landed silently in the rocky valley 2 miles from the human outpost. The mercenaries moved out under the cover of Epsilon 9's permanent twilight, their bodies low to the ground. "This is strange," said Sekla, studying her scanner. "I detect no defense systems, no alarms, no motion sensors, not even basic security cameras." "Perhaps humans are more primitive than we thought," Vazek replied, but he felt uneasy. Something wasn't right. The team reached a ridge overlooking the outpost. The human facility looked simple, just a collection of metal buildings surrounded by mining equipment. Lights glowed softly from a few windows. "Too easy," muttered Merkesh. "Where are their defenses?" "Scan for underground structures," ordered Vazek. Sekla adjusted her scanner. Nothing unusual, just what appears to be mine shafts and some basic living quarters. "We split into 3 groups," Vazek decided. "Sekla, take 3 and circle west. Merkesh, take 3 and go east. I'll take the rest straight down the middle. We meet at the main building. The mercenaries moved like shadows across the rocky ground. Vazek was surprised when they reached the perimeter without triggering any alarms. He signaled to his team, and they quickly subdued 2 humans who were walking between buildings. The captured humans were brought to a small storage shed. One was male, older with gray hair. The other was female, young with dark hair. Neither looked particularly strong or dangerous. "You are in charge here." Vazek towered over them, his scaled skin reflecting the dim light. The humans exchanged glances. Neither looked afraid, which puzzled Vazek. The female spoke. "My name is Sarah. I'm just a geologist. You have no defenses. Why?" Vazek demanded. Sarah smiled. It was not the reaction Vazek expected from a prisoner. "We're just a mining operation. Why would we need heavy defenses? The last mercenary teams that came here never returned." Vazek growled. "What happened to them?" "Oh, them." Sarah nodded casually. "They didn't listen when we warned them." "Warned them about what?" Murkesh clicked his mandibles nervously. "You really should leave while you still can," Sarah said quietly. Her eyes were calm as she looked up at the aliens. The mercenaries laughed, the sound echoing in the small room. "You threaten us." Vazek leaned closer, showing his sharp teeth. "You are in no position to make threats." Sarah shrugged. "It's not a threat. It's friendly advice." The older man finally spoke. The last group didn't listen either. Vazek snorted and stood up. "Guard them," he ordered 2 of his team. "We'll finish scouting the compound and return for more information." As Vazek left, he heard Sarah call after him. "If you change your mind, you can still leave. No hard feelings." That night, the mercenaries set up a temporary camp in the hills above the outpost. Vazek assigned 2 scouts, Drek and Lamar, to watch the perimeter while the others prepared for tomorrow's assault. Shortly after midnight, Sekle approached Vazek's position. "Commander, something's wrong. Drek and Lamar aren't responding to communications." Vazek grabbed his weapon. "Show me." They hurried to the scout's position, but found only empty space. No bodies, no signs of struggle, no blood. The 2 mercenaries had simply vanished. "This is impossible," Vazek whispered. "No one can take down Drek without a fight." In the valley below, the lights of the human outpost continued to shine peacefully in the darkness. Morning came to Epsilon 9, revealing a landscape of gray rocks and twisted metal formations. Vazek gathered his remaining 10 mercenaries. "Drek and Lamar are still missing," he said, "but we continue with the mission. Today we attack the outpost directly." "But Commander," Sekle said, "shouldn't we investigate what happened to?" "We have a job to do," Vazek cut her off. "The humans are unarmed miners. We hit them now, while they're not expecting it." The mercenaries spread out and approached the outpost from 3 directions. Vazek led the main group straight toward the largest building. His confidence returned as they moved forward. What could simple humans do against armed mercenaries? He soon had his answer. The ground beneath Grok, a heavy weapons specialist, suddenly gave way. He disappeared with a surprise scream into a hidden pit. The other mercenaries froze, weapons ready. "It's just a simple trap," Vazek said. "Nothing advanced. Move around it." They continued forward but had only gone 20 steps when a series of small explosions erupted around them. Not deadly blasts, but enough to separate the team members from each other with walls of thick smoke. "Stay together," Vazek shouted, but his voice was drowned out by a deafening noise that suddenly blasted from hidden speakers all around them. Through the chaos, Vazek saw 3 more of his team fall into different traps. One was caught in a net that sprang from the ground. Another stepped on a plate that released a spray of sticky foam, freezing him in place. The third simply disappeared as a section of ground rotated, taking the mercenary below. "Fall back," Vazek ordered. The remaining mercenaries retreated to their camp, confused and angry. "Those weren't high-tech defenses," Murkesh said. cleaning sticky foam from his weapon. Just simple mechanical traps. Things a child could build. But placed perfectly, Shekla added. They knew exactly where we would step. Vezik paced back and forth. We've lost 5 team members now. This makes no sense. Later that afternoon, Sekla approached Vezik with her scanner. Commander, I've detected encrypted transmissions coming from the outpost. I managed to break the code. She played the message, a human voice. Vezik recognized it as Sarah's, spoke calmly. Group C response as expected. They're still underestimating us. The Drenthax commander shows standard aggression patterns. Exploitable weakness in his right flank attack formation. 2 more specimens acquired for study. Proceeding as planned. Vezik's scales darkened with anger. They're studying us. Like we're some kind of test subjects. Commander, Sekla said quietly, these aren't simple miners. They knew we were coming. They prepared for us specifically. As night fell again, strange sounds echoed across the valley. Metal scratching against stone. Whispers just at the edge of hearing. Even Vezik, who had fought in dozens of battles, felt a chill run down his spine. What kind of humans are these? Murkesh whispered, his mandibles trembling slightly. In the darkness beyond their camp, something moved. Something watched. The mercenaries clutched their weapons tighter, no longer certain who was the hunter and who was the prey. We need more information, Vezik said as morning light spread across the rocky landscape. His remaining 7 mercenaries looked tired and nervous. No one had slept well. Sekla pointed to her scanner. There's an old research station about 1 mile north of here. It appears abandoned. Maybe we can find something useful there. Vezik nodded. Murkesh, you stay here with 2 others. Guard the camp. The rest come with me to this research station. The small building was half buried in rocks, looking like it hadn't been used in years. Vezik forced open the rusty door, and the mercenaries entered with weapons ready. Power still works, Sekla said, touching a control panel. Dim lights flickered on, revealing dusty equipment and empty rooms. Check everything, Vezik ordered. Look for any information about the humans. In a back room, they found what they were looking for. A computer system was still active, quietly running on backup power. Sekla's fingers moved quickly over the controls. Commander, I've found video files. They appear to be research recordings. Show me, Vezik said. The screen lit up, showing images that made even the battle-hardened mercenaries step back in shock. In the first recording, a human soldier fought against a group of Kraul warriors. The Kraul were known throughout the galaxy as fierce fighters, twice the size of humans with natural armor and claws. But the human moved with incredible speed, using the environment to separate the Kraul and defeat them one by one. Even when injured, the human kept fighting. How is this possible? Murkesh whispered. That human's arm is clearly broken, but he continues to fight. Another recording showed humans adapting alien technology, taking weapons that didn't work for their hands and rebuilding them in minutes. The third recording was the most disturbing. It showed a single human soldier holding a narrow mountain pass against 30 Kraul warriors. The human had set traps, created choke points, and used the terrain perfectly. Even when surrounded, the human never gave up, fighting until the last Kraul retreated. These can't be normal humans, Vezik said, his voice low. No species fights like this. When wounded, any sensible being retreats. Sekla found text files and read them aloud. Humans classified as persistence predators and war organisms. Warning: humans do not follow normal combat logic. They will continue fighting despite severe injury. They use psychological warfare and adapt quickly to new threats. Persistence predators, Vezik asked. It means they hunt by chasing prey until it is too tired to run. Sekla explained. Not by being faster or stronger, but by never stopping. As they left the research station, the mercenaries were quieter than before. What they had seen changed everything they thought about humans. That night, Another mercenary disappeared while on watch. No sound, no struggle, no trace. Just gone. Vezek looked at the human outpost in the distance, its lights glowing softly in the darkness. For the first time in his long career as a mercenary, he felt something he hadn't felt before. Fear. Morning came again to Epsilon 9. Vezek counted his remaining mercenaries. Just 6 now, including himself. Less than half of what they started with, and they hadn't even engaged in direct combat with the humans yet. We need to rethink our approach, Vezek told his team. These humans are not what we thought. Commander, Sekla called from her position at the scanner. I'm detecting movement in the mine shafts below the outpost. Something is down there, and it's not human. Vezek made a quick decision. Sekla and Merkesh, come with me. The rest of you guard the camp. If we're not back in 3 hours, leave this moon. The 3 mercenaries made their way to an entrance of the mine that was far from the human outpost. The dark tunnel led deep underground, lit only by their portable lights. The movement is ahead, Sekla whispered, checking her scanner. Single life form, moving slowly. Appears to be injured. They found the source in a small side tunnel. Crouched in the corner was an alien unlike any on their team. It had blue skin and 4 arms, now shaking with fear or cold. Identify yourself, Vezek demanded, pointing his weapon at the creature. The alien looked up with large, frightened eyes. My name is Telnik. Please, don't let them find me. Who? The humans? Merkesh asked. Telnik nodded quickly. I was part of Team Blackscale, the team before yours. Vezek lowered his weapon slightly. You survived. What happened to the others? Gone. All gone. Telnik's voice shook. They took them one by one. I've been hiding down here for weeks, moving from tunnel to tunnel. Why didn't you leave the moon? Sekla asked. Our ship was disabled, Telnik explained. These aren't normal humans. They're called ghosts, an elite military unit trained for special operations. Vezek felt his scales tighten against his skin. Not miners at all. No, Telnik shook his head. This whole outpost is a training facility. They practice warfare against different alien species. They study how we fight, how we think. But they're just humans, Merkesh said, though his voice lacked conviction. Physically weak compared to us. They don't fight like soldiers, Telnik whispered. They hunt like predators from Earth's prehistory. They never stop. They never sleep. They just keep coming. They don't try to overpower you. They study you, find your weakness, then strike when you least expect it. Vezek thought about the missing members of his team. We need to get back to our ship and leave this place. As they turned to go, Sekla suddenly stopped. Commander, I just realized something. When was the last time we checked on our prisoners? Vezek's eyes widened. The 2 humans we captured. They should be in the holding cell at our camp. We should hurry back, Merkesh said, his mandibles clicking nervously. When they reached the camp, they found their 3 team members still guarding the perimeter. Everything looked normal until they checked the holding cell. The cell was still locked from the inside, but the humans were gone. This is impossible, Vezek growled, examining the locked door. There's no way out of this cell. But Sarah and the older human had vanished without a trace. We need to leave now, Telnik begged, his 4 arms trembling. While we still can. Vezek stared at the empty cell, his mind racing. How had the humans escaped? The door was still locked from the inside. Pack up everything, he ordered his team. We're returning to our ship. The 6 remaining mercenaries and Telnik quickly gathered their equipment. As Merkesh picked up his weapon case, he froze. My plasma cutter is missing, he said, mandibles clicking rapidly. It was here yesterday. Sekla checked her equipment. My backup scanner is gone too. Someone has been in our camp, Vezek growled. He looked at each team member suspiciously. Grak, a large reptilian mercenary, suddenly pointed at Telnik. Maybe it was him. We only have his word that he was with Team Blackscale. Don't be ridiculous, Sekla said. He's been hiding in the mines. Or maybe, Grak's voice dropped to a whisper, one of us isn't who they appear to be. The team fell silent, each mercenary looking at the others with new suspicion. That's crazy, Vazek said, but doubt crept into his voice. Humans can't disguise themselves as other species. Are you sure, Commander? Grak challenged. The videos we saw showed them adapting alien technology. What if they found a way to disguise themselves? Merkesh stepped back from the group. I've heard stories of humans using special suits to look like other species. Enough, Vazek shouted. This is exactly what they want, to make us turn against each other. We stay together and we leave together. But the damage was done. As they marched toward their ship, the mercenaries spread out, keeping distance between them. No one trusted anyone else. Halfway to the ship, they all heard it, whispers just at the edge of hearing. Words in languages each mercenary understood, but others couldn't. They're in your mind, Vazek said firmly. Ignore it. Suddenly, Grak spun around and fired at Sekla. She's not real. Her eyes changed. Sekla dodged, and Vazek tackled Grak to the ground. Control yourself. Commander, look at her eyes. Grak screamed. She's one of them. Sekla backed away, her hands raised. I'm not human. I've been with you for 5 years. The team broke apart, weapons half raised against each other. Trust completely shattered. When they finally reached the ship, a new horror awaited them. The ship was intact, but different. Small changes to the exterior. New marks on the hull. Someone's been inside, Merkesh whispered. Vazek approached carefully and found a message painted on the hull in the common galactic language. Ili evang so soon. Inside, the ship had been altered. Not destroyed or disabled. Something far worse. Every system was still working, but small things were changed. Seats adjusted to the wrong height. Control panels rearranged. And everywhere, small traps waiting to be triggered. They've been watching us the whole time, Vazek realized. They've studied how we operate the ship. They could have destroyed it, Sekla said. Why didn't they? Telnik, who had been quiet until now, finally spoke. Because they're not trying to kill us. They're playing with us. Vazek stared at the altered ship controls, his mind racing. We need to contact our employer. They must send help. No one argued. The team had gone beyond fear into something worse, desperation. Sekla set up the long-range communicator, careful to check for traps. Signal ready, Commander. Vazek entered his personal code and waited. After a long moment, a hologram appeared, not the broker who had hired them, but a well-dressed human female in what appeared to be a military uniform. Greetings, Commander Vazek, the human said with a polite smile. I am Colonel Rise of Human Special Forces Division. You? Vazek growled. Where is our employer? There never was a real employer, Colonel Rise replied calmly. The broker was paid to recruit mercenary teams. For what purpose? Vazek demanded, his claws digging into the control panel. Research and training, she said. We needed to study how different alien combat teams operate. Your tactics, your technology, your problem-solving methods. The mercenaries looked at each other in shock. Merkesh clicked his mandibles angrily. We were tricked. Sent as training exercises for your soldiers. Precisely, Colonel Rise nodded. The Epsilon 9 facility is a training ground for our ghost units. Every 3 months, we bring in a new mercenary team. It provides excellent real-world training opportunities. Our team members who disappeared, Vazek asked, what happened to them? They are unharmed, she assured him. Simply captured for study. We're particularly interested in Drenthak's physiology. Your species is remarkably resilient. Vazek felt rage building inside him. To be used like this, treated like a training dummy, was the greatest insult to a warrior. Release our team members and let us leave, he demanded. Colonel Reyes smiled again, but her eyes remained cold. That's not how this works, Commander. The exercise isn't complete yet. The communication ended abruptly. The mercenaries stood in silence, the terrible truth sinking in. What do we do now? Asked one of the team members. Vasek's scales darkened with anger. We make our stand here. We prepare the ship as best we can. When they come for us, we'll show these humans what real warriors can do. For the next few hours, the mercenaries worked to secure their position. They removed the traps they could find and set up defensive positions around the ship. But every noise made them jump. Every shadow seemed to move. Commander, Sekla called suddenly. Something is approaching from the outpost. They all grabbed weapons and prepared for the attack they knew was coming. But through the viewport, they saw only a single figure walking slowly toward the ship. It's a trick, Merkesh said. There must be others hiding nearby. Vesik checked his scanner. No, only one life form detected. As the figure came closer, they recognized her. Sarah, the human woman they had captured earlier. She carried no weapons and wore no armor, just the simple clothes of a miner. She stopped a short distance from the ship and raised her hands to show they were empty. I've come to talk, she called out. To offer terms. I'm not talking to her alone, Vesik said firmly. Sekla, Merkesh, come with me. The rest of you stay on the ship with weapons ready. The three mercenaries walked down the ramp to meet Sarah, who stood calmly waiting for them. Up close, she looked even less threatening, small and soft compared to their armored bodies. Thank you for agreeing to talk, Sarah said, as if they were meeting for a pleasant meal rather than a confrontation. What terms do you offer? Vesik demanded, not interested in pleasantries. Sarah smiled that unsettling smile again. It's simple, really. You have two choices. First option, surrender peacefully and provide information about your species' combat capabilities. We'll treat you well, and after our studies are complete, you'll be released unharmed. And the second option, Merkesh asked, mandibles twitching nervously. You continue as training partners until none remain. Sarah said, her voice still friendly despite the terrible words. Either way, we get what we want. Vasek growled low in his throat. Why don't you just kill us? Why this game? Dead enemies provide no useful intelligence, Sarah explained. Living ones, especially those who resist in different ways, teach us so much more. How? Sekla asked suddenly. How did a species as physically limited as yours become so formidable? Sarah considered the question for a moment. Have you heard of persistence hunting? When the mercenaries shook their heads, she continued. On Earth, early humans didn't kill with claws or speed or poison. We would chase prey for hours, sometimes days. Animals faster than us would run, but they couldn't run forever. Eventually, they would collapse from exhaustion, and then we would make the kill. She looked each of them in the eyes. We didn't become apex predators because we were the best killers. We became apex predators because we were the most stubborn. Vesik thought about how his team had been slowly worn down, not through direct confrontation, but through constant psychological pressure and strategic traps. You never had to fight us directly, he realized. You just had to outlast us. Exactly, Sarah nodded. And as proof of what humans can do, she paused dramatically. We've had people among your team for days now. Impossible, Vesik said, but doubt crept into his voice. The missing weapons, the strange noises at night, the sabotage. Sarah smiled. We've been watching you from inside your own team. Merkesh stepped back in horror. The disguise technology, Grak mentioned. I need time to consider your offer, Vesik said, trying to hide his shock. Of course, Sarah replied. You have 1 hour. But remember, Commander, we already know what decision you'll make. We've studied you thoroughly. As she walked away, Vesik felt a chill run through his body. If the humans could infiltrate his team so completely, What chance did they have? Back on the ship, Vezik gathered his remaining team members. "We have 1 hour to decide," he told them, explaining Sarah's offer. "We should surrender," Telnik said immediately. "I've seen what they do to those who resist. It's not worth it." Murkesh clicked his mandibles angrily. "Surrender, and be studied like animals? Never." Vezik paced the small command room, deep in thought. Then he stopped suddenly. There might be another way. "What do you mean, Commander?" Sekla asked. "Instead of being their prey, what if we became their allies?" Vezik said. The others stared at him in shock. "Ally with humans," Grak growled, "after what they did to us." "Think about it," Vezik continued. "Any species capable of this kind of warfare would make better allies than enemies. If they can do this to us, imagine what they could do working with us." Slowly, the others began to nod. Vezik turned to Sekla. "Bring up my personal data files, the encrypted ones." Sekla looked surprised but followed the order. Vezik entered a complex password, and a series of files appeared on the screen. "What is this?" Murkesh asked, leaning closer. "For the past 3 years, I've been gathering intelligence on our clients," Vezik explained. "Many of them are criminal organizations who hire us to eliminate their competition. Some are corrupt officials who use mercenaries to silence those who oppose them." "Why?" Grak asked. "Because someone needs to bring order to the galaxy," Vezik said simply. "I've been building cases against the worst of them, planning to expose them when I had enough evidence." The team was silent, processing this revelation about their commander. "The humans, with their infiltration abilities, could help us gather information we could never access on our own," Vezik continued. "Together, we could expose corruption that spans dozens of worlds." When the hour was nearly up, Vezik walked down the ramp alone. Sarah was waiting, exactly where they had spoken before. "Have you made your decision?" she asked. "Yes," Vezik said, "but I propose a third option." Sarah raised an eyebrow, looking genuinely surprised for the first time. "I'm listening." "An alliance," Vezik said, "between my team and yours." "Why would we want that?" Sarah asked, though Vezik could tell she was interested. "Because I have information about criminal organizations and corrupt officials throughout the galaxy," Vezik explained. "With your infiltration skills and my intelligence network, we could expose them all." Sarah studied him carefully. "How do I know this isn't a trick?" "I'll provide proof," Vezik said. "And as a sign of good faith, I'll tell you something else. I'm not the only one gathering such intelligence. There's a network of us, across multiple species." Sarah was silent for a long moment. Then she activated her communicator. "Colonel, I think you should hear this yourself." 10 minutes later, Colonel Reyes stood before Vezik. After hearing his proposal, she smiled. A real smile this time, not the cold one from before. "I believe we have much to discuss, Commander Vezik." 3 months later, on a distant space station, a Zarkian mercenary commander named Gruel received a data chip. His scaled fingers turned it over carefully before inserting it into his reader. A hologram appeared showing the details of a new contract. Eliminate a small human outpost on Epsilon 9. The payment offered was 5 times the standard rate. 5 times standard. Gruel's second-in-command whistled. "What's the catch?" "Just humans," Gruel said with a toothy smile. "How hard can it be?" 2 weeks later, Gruel's ship landed on Epsilon 9, a safe distance from the human outpost. His team of 15 elite mercenaries moved out under cover of darkness. "Commander," his scout called quietly, "I see the outpost ahead." Gruel raised his vision enhancers and studied the target. It looked like a simple mining facility. Only a few lights were on. He smiled at how easy this would be. "Spread out and surround the place," he ordered. "We attack at dawn." As the first light of morning touched the rocky landscape, Gruel gave the signal to advance. His mercenaries moved forward confidently, weapons ready. Then they stopped in shock. Emerging from hidden positions around the outpost were not just humans, but a mixed group of aliens. Gruel recognized the distinctive scaled form of a Drenfax warrior. Next to him stood a blue-skinned, four-armed alien and several other species. "What is this?" Gruel hissed. Before his team could retreat, they found themselves completely surrounded. From behind rocks, from underground bunkers, and even from the sky in small hovering craft, more fighters appeared. Some were human, but many were alien mercenaries working alongside them. A tall Drenfax stepped forward. "I am Commander Vazek. You have walked into a trap." Gruel. "How do you know my name?" Gruel demanded, raising his weapon. "We know everything about you," Vazek said calmly. "Your criminal clients, your illegal operations, the innocent people you've killed. It's all been documented." A human female joined Vazek. "Your employers didn't tell you the truth, did they? This isn't a mining outpost. It's a joint human-alien special operations base." Gruel looked around frantically, seeing his team completely outmatched. "What do you want from us?" "Information," the human said simply. "Everything you know about your clients, especially Senator Krav and his smuggling operation." "And if I refuse?" Gruel challenged. Vazek and the human exchanged glances and smiled. It was the same smile, predatory and confident. "Then you get to experience what it's like to be hunted by the most dangerous combination in the galaxy," Vazek said. Human ingenuity paired with alien strength. 3 days later, a message traveled across the criminal networks of the galaxy. It showed footage of Gruel's mercenaries being systematically captured by the joint human-alien team. Attached was a simple warning: "The rules have changed. Criminals beware. We are watching." In the command center on Epsilon 9, Vazek and Colonel Rice watched as reports came in of panicked criminal organizations suddenly abandoning operations across 3 sectors. "They're running scared," Sarah observed, bringing them status updates. "As they should be," Vazek nodded. "The galaxy is about to become a much more dangerous place for criminals. And a safer place for everyone else," Colonel Rice added. Together, they looked at the star map showing their next targets. The hunters had truly become the hunted. Asterisk, the end asterisk,